So what are we here to talk about today? So when we surveyed you a few weeks back, one of the topics everybody felt was really interesting to them was analytics. A couple of housekeeping items, and we'll dig right into that content. So I am your host for this session, as I have been for a little over the last 2 years. For those of you who may be here for the first time, my name is Justin Daniel. I currently am the Senior Academy Manager, where we manage all of our training for clients as well as internally facing folks. All right, so now that all that's out of the way, thank you again for joining. Today we're going to dig into discovery analytics, and to give you kind of a high level, my thoughts on how we optimize, leverage our insights or our analytics functionality has really evolved over the years. And so I've tried to bring all of those key elements in sort of a condensed way here to help give you a framework for how to use this tool, but also understand kind of what it's for and how it works. The majority of analytics in the Discovery platform, as most of you probably know, fall under the Insights heading, which is that little light bulb icon you can see sort of on the left of your screen there. If you think you should have that light bulb in your implementation, you don't, you reach out to support and let them know that that is missing for you. And as long as it's been enabled, set up, whatever, you shouldn't have any problems there. Insights provides a variety of ways to look at data. And the way users approach their analysis is going to help determine which reporting elements are the most relevant. And you can see there's just a ton of stuff in here. How do you begin to decide what to use and what's going to be the most helpful? One thing I'd like to really stress is Insights is designed to help target optimizations. It's an optimization sort of finding or identifying tool. It's not meant to replace enterprise reporting systems. So Adobe Analytics or Google Analytics, whatever those systems you might be using are that used to report out conversion metrics, bounce metrics, whatever that might be in the organization, you're going to want to continue to use those to do that. Insights is really designed to find things to optimize, and then in some cases measure the outputs of those changes. And I'll talk a little bit more about what I mean by that. So what I've found over the years, working in the field as you all do, as well as training and working with clients on the Bloomreach side, is that there are really three primary approaches that you're using when you're using analytics. You're generally not just pulling reports to pull reports, unless you really, really love analytics, even more perhaps than I do. Maybe you're doing that. But generally speaking, you're there with a purpose in mind. You have an agenda, you have a question, something you're trying to solve. What I found that basically breaks down to is these three scenarios. There is a specific product, page, or term that I want to analyze. We launched this product. How is it doing? Is it getting traffic? What's happening with it? There's a particular search term, that we've seen an increase in volume. Let me understand what's kind of going on with that particular term, and sort of going down that line. And we'll talk more about these as we get in here. Another scenario, the desire is to review the top terms, pages, or products on your site. You don't really have a specific area of focus, but you really want to know, what are customers searching most often when they come to my site? Sometimes it's different than what we might assume it will be. The goal is to identify top revenue driving opportunities within searcher categories. I'm not here just to understand what's going on. I'm looking for, what are those opportunities? Like, we have algorithms doing all this work. Are they identifying anything for me that I can go and quickly try to action? And there's suites of reporting that really serve well for each one of these. Right tool for the right job. If any of you are in sort of the home improvement space or working with tools or anything like that, you've probably heard that before. And Insights is just like that. You're going to want to pick the right suite of reports for the right job. I'm going to cover some things that are a little high level insights and some things a little more specific, and try to talk about some of the most helpful elements of each of these to try to help you narrow your focus. So let's start with the first one, analyzing specific terms, pages, or products. Within Insights, you can see there's a whole bunch of different tabs. If you have something specific in mind, Playbooks is going to be your best option. Playbooks are a series of group reports used to analyze opportunities on the site. It takes a bunch of different reports and puts them into sort of groupings, so you can then look through and understand sort of what's going on with whatever it is you might be looking into. As I mentioned, ideal for digging into questions regarding very specific elements of the site, a page, a term, a product, whatever that is, to understand what you're looking for. So example, I want to know how the search term chair is performing over the last 30 days. This is a great use of that report. How is my dining room furniture category performing over the last 2 weeks? Maybe you had an event, something going on there, and you understand sort of what the impact was. Did we see spikes in traffic, things of that nature? Playbooks is going to give you reporting that will help you understand what that looks like. So again, sticking with this topic, when you click into playbooks, you're going to see a grid that looks like very much like what you see on the left there, minus obviously the yellow box that I've added to spotlight specific areas. The three reporting groups we're going to focus on are find optimizations, assess performance, and view customer journey. These sort of look independent here, but they are actually sort of grouped together as we dig a little deeper, which you'll see. But those are going to be the building blocks of what we're going to use here. You can certainly click into any of these others and play around with them, but we're going to give you a framework today to kind of go from here to there. If you select one of these, in this case, I click Find Optimizations, you'll see, following the yellow arrow, that's going to give you a box that looks like this, where you can now input that category, product, or query. So as you can already see, this is not a great way to try to figure out what the top term or whatever it might be is. It is a great way if you have a very narrow focus. What's going to happen, though, is if we use one of these, and let's say we use query and we use chair, once you hit go here, it's going to take you to a suite of reports that looks like this. If you look across the top there, just under the term chair and the metrics associated with that particular query, you can see those three sort of reporting suites that we previously mentioned: assess performance, find optimizations, and view customer journey. They're tabs you can click from one to the next. So don't stress about which one of these three you select when you do it, only that you're selecting the right set of reporting for what you're trying to do. In this case, look at something specific. So once you get in there, you'll notice a couple of things. This is obviously just the first report, but if you're following along at home or in your office, I should say, you'll see sort of that there is more reports that are included within them. So you can click on those tabs to move from one to the next. And each, depending on what you're looking at, you're going to get slightly different information there. But assess performance is going to look at sort of performance metrics for what's going on there. Find optimization is going to look at opportunities for redirects, perhaps, things of that nature. And view customer journey is going to look at how customers are, getting to a page or a product, where they go afterwards, things they're searching, that type of information. When you see reports within Insights, you're going to see the report titles. I highlighted one in yellow here. These are hyperlinked. So if you click in, think of what you see when you first get into these reports as sort of your thumbnail. If you want to see the rich detail that lays underneath, you want to click on those titles, and that'll take you to something that looks like this. For this report, for others, it'll be similar, where it gives you an expanded number of KPIs. So from here, I know by day how my search term share that I'm so interested in is performing, and I can see the visits by day, the page views, and all of these types of things. So if I'm trying to analyze a particular term, all of these reports, when combined, are going to give me a whole bunch of information about that particular term. Also, I'd just like to point this out. The download button is available, so you can certainly get this information into Excel or Google Sheets, whatever the Google version of that is, and then analyze that data as you need to. You can also reduce the information using this edit columns, but I'm a big fan of export it all and figure out what you need later, instead of having to come back and get things that you might need. So within this, there are reports that I have found to be more helpful than others. So in this particular context, assess performance is one of those. So or under assess performance, I should say, the top site searches containing this query. So in this case, we use chair. We can see what the top chair related searches are. When you're looking at a particular term, sometimes the focus is a little too narrow. And you want to understand, okay, so they're searching for chair, we get that, but what else might they be searching for? They're sort of chair related, chair adjacent, however you want to put that. So that the top site searches containing the query report under assess performance. Again, you can click on that blue hyperlink title. It'll blow it up and give you a lot more KPIs. It's much more user friendly than sort of the graph. How you can do that to get some information. Under the Find Optimizations tab, associated queries with this query, it's looking at sessions to understand sort of how closely correlated certain search terms are. So you can see desk, bench, chairs, sofa, and table are all correlated, meaning people who are searching for chair in this case also we're looking at things like desks and benches and so on. So it'll give you an idea of what else is associated there, kind of what people are looking at in addition to just specifically chairs. Then under view customer journey, I included a couple different reports as well that I've found again to be particularly helpful. So you can see the for a search term, previous page, which is going to be the page they searched they may have searched this from, and also if they're doing this in a string of searches, if they searched, then searched again, then searched again, you can see what their previous search term was prior to what your term, in this case chair, and what their follow-up search was if they still didn't find what they wanted, and the associated volumes of all of those. They help kind of paint a picture of what's going on there. And these will vary slightly depending on if you're looking at a category or a term, but you'll see that as you go. This gives you at least a good framework for how to approach that. So let's talk about looking at top products. These are sort of like what I call your lifeguarding reports. You're kind of surveying the scene to see what's going on and looking for things that pique your interest. For these reporting, this is the longest click path you're going to have with Insights to get to a report, but the site-wide overview suite of reports is actually the best way to do that. It's going to give you the top 100 pages, terms, and so on for each of those areas. For that, you click into Insights, then you click into Overview, and then Site-wide Overview, and that'll get you there. I think it's only about 6 panels that look like this. There's 2 on the bottom that are obviously cut off. You can see that there's some daily site-wide performance and daily site search versus non-site search. Non-site search, for anyone who hasn't heard that before, in the context of Bloomreach, typically just means navigation. So there's no traffic here because I pulled this from a dummy site. But if you want to understand, what your breakdown is of revenue or traffic based on search or non-search behavior, you can actually break it down by clicking into this report. It's also the most adaptable report, so a lot of clients really seem to enjoy that. And then clicking into any of these will obviously open up a bigger set of KPIs that you can look at. So this is the site search versus non-site search revenue one again. Again, you can go in and select, I think it defaults to these 3, but you can select and break it out any way you like and then export to do that. This has been a pretty popular one amongst clients I've worked with over the years. So it's a good one. Export it. It's a really easy way to kind of get to that data. You also notice this little sort of drop down arrow onto the right. So in this case, we're looking at top categories by revenue, and we're looking at plush toys. And you can see there's some metrics here and then a drop down at the end. If you click this drop down, it'll open up the same 3 reporting options that we looked at previously. So you can kind of dig deeper into that specific category. There really is sort of a virtual rabbit hole you can dive into here, analyzing deeper and deeper as you go through. But those are all very helpful to have. But again, this is just for top categories, but that's one example of the reporting there. We didn't really talk about this so much, but within that, let me back up one time. So within this here, you will have, as I mentioned before, top products, top pages, top categories, and top terms are all available. And then clicking in will give you the expanded view similar to what you're seeing here. All right, analyzing top search or category opportunities. So within Insights, you have an opportunity section that I've expanded for the screenshot you see here to your left. These reports are split into, there's 3 sections technically, but the ones I find to be the most useful for a multitude of reasons are improved category navigation and improved site search. What this is really doing is looking at the top opportunities as identified by algorithms and the patterns that they observe within each of these. And there's a lot of reports within them. We're going to talk about a few that I find to be the most helpful, but you can certainly take this framework of knowledge and then dig into these reports and see what works best for you. All reports contained in each section are driven by, again, perceived KPI opportunities as identified by the algorithms. So keep in mind, algorithms just know the patterns that they see. They don't really understand the context sometimes within them. So the example I use all the time is, if you sell hammers and you sell nails, in the eyes of the algorithm, those products are so closely tied together, we should consider merchandising them within the same page. Well, if we have a normal taxonomy that's sort of a little more, not as flexible, hammers need to live in the hammers category, nails live in the nails category. We can certainly cross-merchandise them in a variety of ways, but in terms of strictly categorizing them, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But where those recommendations can be super helpful is if you have a little more flexible categorization. So if you have a date night category or a gifting category, a gift is anything you buy for somebody. A gift could be a shirt or a hammer or a pair of shoes, whatever it might be. So if you find that there's a close correlation there, maybe you have some opportunities to actually move things around. I'll just kind of draw that out here. These reports can be used to help identify opportunities like, oh yeah, discontinued categories still online. This happens a lot. You'll see categories with high traffic and no conversion. It's because we've actually sunsetted those categories, moved the product somewhere else, but through the magic of Google or something else, we're still getting traffic to those pages, but not converting. It's a good way for us to remember to turn those off or deactivate them whenever we need to. Terms of categories, missing products. So if there's products that, if there's a search term that maybe doesn't incorporate all of the correct products, Oftentimes, this will alert you to that opportunity. It can also help you identify emerging trends, especially as it relates to search. So we'll talk a little bit more about each of these. So this is the top category opportunities report. As I mentioned before, the caret at the drop down there will help expand the opportunity, and clicking into the hyperlink title, like right here, will give you a longer list of KPIs. You can see some of these here. Some of my favorites: high next search traffic category pages. This is pages where the most frequent next action taken is search. So when someone gets to this category, they're more often searching again or searching from that page than they are clicking on a product. So you can see in this example, 80% of 2 visits. I don't think that mathematically actually works out, but it's dummy data, so I'm not too worried about that. But so if you have a page where people are searching very heavily, you can actually use that drop down on the right there to click in, view customer journey, and then look at what terms specifically they're searching. And that'll help you identify, are there products that aren't part of this page that should be, or is this just something where clients or customers are, continuing a search journey? From the mask page, they're often searching for gloves. Did they expect to find gloves there, or are they just sort of running down their shopping list? You'll be able to identify what those opportunities are. Also, there's high exit rate category pages up on the top there, top right there. That's another really good one. So this is looking at pages where people are exiting at a higher than high rate. So everybody exits the site eventually. Your site-wide exit rate is 100%, whether they transact and leave or they don't transact and leave. But it's looking at pages where they're exiting at a very high rate. So you can take a look and see kind of what's happening there. Lowest converting category pages on the top. This is one where we've identified in the past some of those, dead categories. They're still getting traffic. You can kind of clip those off. Or if they're good categories, you can take a look to see, is there anything, does it pass the eyeball test? Why might this be getting high exits? And categories of missing products is looking at products that are viewed along with a category in the same session as the category, but aren't necessarily a part of it. So, the pajamas category, if it's missing key pajamas, maybe people are looking for slippers there, who knows? You can make sure that you have the appropriate products merchandise there. So this is a good example. So, we put this together, but high next search traffic category pages. In this case, we've identified that we want to look at the birthday gifts opportunity. 41% of people visiting that birthday gifts page are searching next, and most likely next. What are they looking for? Then we hit that drop down, hit view customer journey and look, and we see that people who are on this birthday gifts page are actually looking very heavily for birthday cakes. So either we need to cross merchandise cakes with cakes, birthday cake with birthday gifts, or find some other way, put them in the category, whatever that might be. But you can kind of see how, and this is a little bit of a silly example, you can kind of see how you can look and see what's here and then take action based on how clients are ultimately behaving. If you don't have it, then maybe it's a white space opportunity. So there are 7 total reports included in this section. The most helpful are the ones that I've listed out here, but there are more. So please don't limit yourself to just what we're talking about. There's obviously a lot more there than we can cover in 30 minutes. All right, top search opportunities. There are 10 reports overall within these top search opportunities reports. And again, each one can be expanded just like any of the others to view additional KPIs. Reports that have been used the most often include the ones you see here. Queries with the highest increase in volume and visits. So queries that have been searched before, but you're seeing a spike in the last 30 days relative to the last 7 days. So your 7-day average on coffee is 161 visits a day, but your 30-day average is 37.6. You're seeing a spike in interest in coffee, which is what that's calling out. Queries with highest dip in volume, queries where, again, over the last 30 days, we're seeing significantly more visits than we have recently. You'll see this a lot as you go out of season on products. Christmas searches drop off pretty precipitously come January. Queries highest exit rate, again, looking at people are searching and then exiting the site. What do those results look like? Are there things we can do to sort of improve that? Then queries with no product clicks is another one that's sort of a qualitative report. Well, yes, we're bringing back products for bedside table, but are they nightstands or whatever we think that needs to be? Or is it, are we only pulling in some sort of bed related products? And those will all help you explore that. Again, by clicking into the report and seeing the fullest KPIs, and then using the carrot to kind of dig deeper using the reporting that we've learned so far. So summary, and I know I'm about over here. So Insights is primarily an optimization tool. It's not designed to replace enterprise reporting systems. So you want to make sure you're using it in the correct way. 3 main analytics approaches: looking for a specific product, page, term, and so on to be analyzed. Looking at trying to understand what the top terms, top pages, and so on are. Identifying top revenue driving opportunities, and each of these again had a good corresponding report set that we talked about already. The reports you will use, as you've seen, will largely depend on the approach being taken. So we've gone over what each of those might look like, and hopefully given you a good framework to start to dig into all this information.